April 13th meeting to order. Let's rise and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kevin Scramlin.
Here.
Janelle Keller. Here. Teresa Bills. Here. Jim Christopher.
Excused.
Keith Wiederhold.
Here. I did want to take just a minute before we get into it. I know we got a pretty full agenda, but former Supervisor DePalma's wife Noreen passed away after her long battle with Alzheimer's. And I'm sure Bob would be the first to tell you that all the great things he did in 24 years here were because of the great lady he had at home. So if we could just bow our heads for a moment of silence, I would appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Agenda additions and changes. I know I've got a couple. Janelle, we're going to take the resident recognition off this month. Correct. Presentations. They could not be here. And then you need to add J for me, is talk about Barry, some money on the fire station. Does anybody have anything else?
I would like to add, this can go in the consent agenda, you have it in front of you, is the approval of the Memorial Day flags and buntings to come out of repairs and cemetery repairs and maintenance for a total of $1,295.92 plus shipping costs.
Anything else?
I motion that we approve the agenda for 4/13/2026 with the modifications as mentioned.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Let's see, we will open for public comment. If anybody has anything they want to make a comment on. All right, we will close public comment. Consent agenda, Janelle, you want to go over that?
Sure. So we have our accounts payables from March 10th through April 9th. General building had a little over 78,000. Fire had about 24,000. Trust and agency was also about $24,000. You have your revenue and expense reports within here. Treasurer's investment report. We also have approving $2,500 contribution toward HIA and another $2,500 contribution toward BGYA. Both of those are annual contributions we typically make. The ELAN contract is included. We talked about that in our budget meeting. He came to a meeting. We actually approved it last month moving forward, but everything is in here with the specific amount that is due right now in the contract. And then that last item was just those Memorial Day flags we usually pay for the cemeteries for our veterans. And then the buntings are to adorn Olive Branch and Mount Bethel cemeteries.
Anybody got anything else on that?
I will just mention real quick, because some months, I don't have all of the statements and all of the balances, but because our board meeting is on the 13th this month, it's a little bit later in the month, the investment report and cash on hand, it is 100% everything in, totally accurate, because I know that they use this number for March 31st for end of fiscal year balances, and so all of the things are in there, and that is as of March 31st. So of course, going into April 1st, the 2025 tax year collections will be moved out of the tax account and into the fire and the township accounts. So those will be reflected in next month's public funds. So that will increase the fire department's revenues by the entire tax collection amount, okay? Just letting you know, because oftentimes I have to wait for one bank or another to send stuff. And, but this is totally up to date and ready for the account, or for the auditor to use as our final number for fiscal year. Okay?
Thank you. Anything else? No?
A motion that we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I will support.
Or would you roll call that, please?
Yes, Kevin Scramlin,
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
Yes?
Teresa Bills,
Yes.
Keith Wiederholt.
Yes. Mr. Danaskis. Justin Danaskis, for those that don't know, do a lot of consulting for the township. So I'd asked Justin to come in tonight, give us a little bit of update, government-wise, and things they're working on. Go ahead, Justin.
Thank you. Thanks for Groveland board, public for having me in tonight. Go over some of the items. Not going to go over all the items we're focusing on. It's quite the laundry list, but I think this will give a good highlight of some of the main ones that's on the forefront, kind of timely right now. So I'll kind of stop a little bit between if someone has a quick question or someone can have some, further discussion at the end of it. So as you can see tonight, we're going to focus on kind of these main subject areas. So first I want to introduce, kind of talk about utility franchise ordinances and agreements and what those tools are and what they can do for a municipality. We'll touch base on the Michigan State Police Post that the township has and is recently expanded, some things we're working around law enforcement and so forth. And then there's a lot of things going on in Lansing as always that can directly affect the township and that we're putting some requests in on. So I want to give you guys kind of an update on really what's happening right now in Lansing, what's been passed, what's kind of the climate. Want to touch base on the zoning preemption bills, or has also been kind of presented as the affordable housing package of bills. Let's get into to kind of see how or why that is. And it's also budget season here and at the state and elsewhere, and so I think we timely touch on that. And we also have our own request in for the township that we're going to talk about as part of that budget process. And we'll kind of wrap it up, let you know what I see coming to the future for the priorities for the rest of the year up in Lansing, which kind of tie back in here, and also just some other policy just to be aware of. So kind of I'll go kind of quick, but if there's something along the way, please stop me board, or certainly we can discuss further the items at the end. To kind of kick it off, we'll go with the utility franchise ordinance or agreement first. So really what is that, right? Or it kind of says the name like a lot of things, but it's an ordinance that municipalities use then to regulate basically the use of public right-of-way for utilities. So traditionally people pretty much think gas and electric, right? DTE, consumers, Board of Power and Light, what have you. But think broadband, fiber, there's a lot of different things going on, right? And so this would be an ordinance that then dovetails kind of agreement part and parcel with the utility provider for new infrastructure that's placed in the road right of way or the street or elsewhere. So think fiber and some of these different things too that come along. So for new infrastructure, if the ordinance is in place, you can, as part of that have various, things like fees. Typically we'll see those run 2 to 5% now. It used to always kind of be 2, now it's creeping to 3, 4, 5%. And that's of the receipts, gross receipts of that utility, of that servicing in the community. So it's a great tool. They've been out there a long time. You have small cities and villages, so townships have them, Oregon Township, Atlas Township, the city of Davison, Flint Township, on and on. There's quite a number of examples of them out there. And just like anything, they kind of test in the courts and stuff too. The dollars would have to be kind of directed towards the implementation and so forth, compliance of that utility use, right? But they're in the road, right? They're in the road right away. There's infrastructure. So there's a lot of ways to use it, but there's been court cases like in East Lansing that kind of set parameters, which is good for you folks if you look forward to, if the township wants to move forward with one of those. And I know the chief actually did some research and brought some attention, and could be a good revenue source with all the upgrades going on in the area and elsewhere. So, and then your new legal counsel too. I know there's one in Oregon Township and elsewhere we can kind of dive into a little bit more. And as you can kind of manage mainly for, revenue opportunity, but that dovetails in for the support of the road right-of-ways, other things those funds can use for, and then obviously safety, oversight, regulations, standards, if you will, for what those utilities and that infrastructure look like. So this tool that's out there, it's been used for a long time, it's been tested in the courts, and something we can kind of dive in further, especially with some of the upgrades and things happening here in the township, I think. Another thing happening right in the township, obviously, has for a while with the Michigan State Police Post. As pretty much everyone I'm sure is aware, there's a police post here in the township, and now you got a beautiful new facility with a great public-private partnership with the new facility they're moving into. the cost of everything going up, we've been exploring and looking at, well, how can we further leverage that asset and try to turn it into a full-time police post, to have that full-time coverage provided by the Michigan State Police. So working on some advocacy on that front with our legislators, with the regulators, their liaisons for Michigan State Police. And then also folks have probably kind of seen some of the headlines, you can see some of my notes up there. You know, some of the realities though with Michigan State Police, they are having some staffing issues. My understanding, talking to some folks, it seems like it's hard to get people through their entire process and to even become an officer and to serve. There's been some leadership issues, I shouldn't say that, there's been some issues internally with, let's say, uppers if you will, so a little bit of culture issues, so they've struggled a little bit honestly and with some of their staffing and manning what they have, so we're a little bit of an uphill battle, but we're working on it, we're trying to get some answers, and as we explore that as well as there's other discussions in the area and realm, you know, there's a lot of regional fire around here, but there's looked at regional, you know, policing as well and authorities, as well as Oakland County has come knocking to every township and basically saying, hey, even if you don't have dedicated officers, we're responding, we want some money, right? So now is a great time to look at, you know, safety and police with this great asset, what can be done, further leverage it, or with these other discussions on the table, let's have all the cards, so we're talking police and safety that, you know, we can look which way to move forward. So we're directly though, we're working on seeing about the likelihood or what the process to further get full-time, or those other things are, you know, being discussed on the table right now. They're rolling in some of the Lansing things and then, you know, directly come back to here. It's been a really slow session so far. And so in Michigan, our sessions run 2 years. So we're in the 26-27 cycle, kind of runs with the state rep terms. And so we've had, it's not from a shortage of trying. There's over 2,600 bills that have been introduced, but only 76 got passed all of last year and only a handful so far this year. So to kind of set the tone, what's happening, right? So there's some bipartisan debate and a lot of shooting of kind of bills over the bow, but not a lot's getting passed. You kind of see what's been done so far this year. It's important ones, don't get me wrong. They've been working on smartphone bans in public schools for a while, and so they passed 2 bills that recently passed that, which is great to get folks untethered a little bit and focus on the other screens and the teachers. So those bills did get passed this year already. There was also 2 bills that kind of streamlined death certificates, which was a big issue and for a lot of folks, insurance families and everyone, after an unfortunate passing of, you know, getting that records within a timely manner. Also a real big one, they just by the skin of their teeth passed, though it was in the works, is we have reciprocity basically in the medical field with a lot of different licensure, and so there's a multi-state compact that was up with, if it wasn't renewed, there'd be probably 8,000 or more physicians, PAs practicing here that wouldn't be able to, because their license wouldn't be recognized with that reciprocity, right? So that just got renewed kind of in a very timely fashion, I guess, or not rather. Little interesting one over on Harson's Island there over in St. Clair County. Just to give you an example of what's been passed, right? These things, you know. TIF district, taxing criminal finance district, they actually kind of included a different area of the islands or DDA. So it can open up to other things in the township and other areas. So, but it was kind of specifically for them. And then we have our friend over here, the new first official duck of Michigan, the wood duck. So that's what they've gotten past, you know, so far. Yeah. So important stuff, whatever. But normally we're talking hundreds of bills have been passed at this point, thousands, depending, right, on the legislation. So it's kind of a slower trickle, right? But they are working on a lot of policy. Just because things don't get passed doesn't mean they're not going to, or so forth, right? And this one, as I mentioned before, I titled zoning preemption bills. It's also being shopped or presented as the affordable housing package of bills, right? And so what this would do is really restrict the local units of government's ability to plan and zone for a number of certain, you know, factors and standards. And I'll just touch base on them so you can get a quick idea of what all of them are. First one, House Bill 5529, is on lot size. And it kind of dovetails right into this. They're almost one of the same ones regarding a parcel versus lot size, but it almost says the same thing. You can't restrict the lot parcel size under 1,500 square feet. I'm not saying small lots are bad. However, in the right area, planning and zoning and so forth, one could see how this could be an issue, especially as the township is laid out and planned for certain size lots, and now you're saying, hey, you can't prohibit me, and you have to have something that are 1,500 square feet. And then that goes into, then when someone goes to apply in House Bill 5531, it puts a very short time frame on the process for local municipality to approve an application and get through it, as well as restricts the types of studies that the township or the planning commission can request. traffic studies, analysis, those sort of things would be heavily restricted on when you could call for them, require them, or slow up the process. So that is a big issue potentially as well. Dwelling size, you can't prohibit, you can't require larger than 500 square foot. So any residential district, if it's a rural suburban with a minimum of 2,000, no longer, someone could put a 500 square foot. And these ones are across the board. The next one you'll see they have kind of some different standards when they would come into play, but those would all go in effect as presented, would affect the township or potential to, right? These other bills, you look at 5582 that focus on mobile homes and their parking requirements. So this certainly could affect here. Someone wants to do a multifamily, mixed use, what have you. It's only requiring one parking spot per dwelling unit for that development. So I guess we build a parking structure nearby. I hope you got some street parking, depending on who you're gearing it towards, right? And it also allows mobile homes, nothing against mobile homes by any means, but it's like any product, right? This would allow it by right in any zoning district as part of that bill as presented right now. Then the next one is for setbacks, setting it no bigger than 15 feet from your front yard and 5 from your rear and side yard. And I'm looking at the standard, you see this one's located within or adjacent to a metropolitan statistical area. I think that would unfortunately include Groveland Township, the way they define that. And then these next two only apply if if there's water and sewer available to the site, but obviously there's utilities. So the first one, 5584, would be dwellings by right, basically. So it's going to set a new standard, a new definition at the state level for what duplex is, and you get to have them in all your zoning districts, as long as you have the water and sewer services. And same goes for the last one, accessory dwelling units. Those would just be basically allowed by right, no real requirements on zoning and so forth. You can't prohibit them. It's not going to count towards your overall building envelope or square footage or coverage of your lot to be able to add basically ancillary, residential or rather dwellings, if you will. And on these package of bills, you think, oh my gosh, you probably heard from your own supervisor and board and the Township Association of people saying, wait a minute, this kind of smells like you're taking away local control. But there is bipartisan support, and these bills certainly aren't dead. They're actively being worked and worked on in Lansing. So I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but it's certainly not given that it's going to be killed. So we'll continue to be working on these. There will be substitutes of these bills and so forth. And so I'll be actively working on these in the spring session to the fall and all the way through the session until lame duck. So this isn't going away by any means. That takes us right into what they're talking about right now. We're in the budget season, right, here locally and at the state level. The governor came out, she always did with her budget presentation. We're cracking in over $88 billion now here in the state of Michigan. You can kind of see some of her priorities up there. So we have some good ones she's looking at focusing on, lowering some costs for families. Literacy is a big thing across the spectrum and the boards and the political power. Improving literacy, road funding, trying to finish building those damn roads, right? So working on that still. And protecting Medicaid are some of the main ones. You see some specifics that have been proposed, like literacy. We rank very low nationally on the 3rd grade literacy scale, and so a $250 per pupil spend increase, on that. There's also some other plans that wrap around that, but some of these are directly tied in the budget. Property tax relief for seniors, some holiday tax credits for shopping and so forth, as well as new revenue. Taking some money from the rainy day fund, and the original proposals for $400 million. And then also creating some new taxes on like internet gambling, digital advertising, tobacco, more tax on tobacco. And then not to cover all like the Senate and so forth, but kind of on the Republican side, Speaker Hall and some of their priorities. Talks about affordability and also kind of looking at waste, fraud, and abuse within the government. So he's looking at more of those incorporating part of his budget process. He wants to look at property tax reform. We haven't seen that plan yet. It certainly has been talked about though, eliminating the 6% mills that go to the state education fund. And not to drag grass, we should talk locally next time too. There's a lot going on at the county. That now countywide millage coming for taxes too. I digress a little bit, but on schools, we can talk about that another time. But certainly at the state and county level, they're looking at those increases because that literacy rate's driving a lot of it. And then there's also a lot of talk on healthcare, which we'll talk about, and reform and insurance, and some of that goes right into the budget season too. And it's important because we have our own asking too, so it's very important to be tracking this budget session. So we've submitted through your state representative, Dave Martin, his office submitted on behalf of the township, legislative directive spending request in the amount of $950,000 for dollars right here into Groveland Township. Those funds would be spent on high capacity wells to service and support the fire chief and the great work the fire department does. So in my layman's understanding, so we have, heaven forbid, there's catastrophe type events where we, a lot of that demand are just out in the field, if you will. There are these 10 strategic wells throughout the township, and Chief can correct me if I'm wrong. And also we have a lot of public lands around here, right? A lot of rural areas, a lot of need, a lot of service, so that greatly enhance a number of things, and hopefully some insurance rates maybe too. So that request is in, it's waiting for a hearing in front of the Appropriations Subcommittee in the House. And then I also confirmed with Senator Ruth Johnson's office today, the same exact request we're getting into the Senate budget, and so we'll have compassionate ones on either side, both in the House and Senate will be working the session through the budget season. And that kind of leads us to our priorities, because the legislative session goes through the end of this year, and so what other things are they focusing on? Obviously the budget and some of these things, but as I mentioned, that literacy, you'll see in the budget, as well as package of bills, what we do to increase that literacy. That's across the spectrum as people are looking at that. The property tax relief, as I said, kind of germinating out of the House Republicans, see what their package is, but there's talks of that certainly around Lansing. More government transparency. We look at our MEDC and our source funds and ways we attract businesses. That's kind of on the table again of saying, should that be switched, or how do we allocate those best dollars for kind of economic development and business incentives. Also another big thing you may have heard over on the east side for the Southbridge Air Force Base. They'll be housing some of our newest and latest fighter jets as they retire the old ones. Number of dollars have been allocated federally. Kind of have to do some things locally or at the state level, some infrastructure and some improvements there to kind of capture those. So we certainly see that as a priority, getting passed in some portions, some funding for that. And then talk about medical debt relief and parameters around that. We've seen some certain bills of how collection companies or hospitals can collect debt, how it's presented and so forth. And then housing affordability, zoning preemption, or you want to present it on both sides. That's certainly a priority that we see up in Lansing. And then some of these quick ones, just want to kind of your radar, things we're always kind of looking at, and kind of being swirled around Lansing have for years, or some of these topics like short-term rentals. That would kind of go back into the preemptive zoning laws like we're talking about. The state could possibly set a state standard, if you will, on the short-term rentals. So that's something that's been talked about for years, and it'll pass at some point, I believe, and still be discussed. Revenue sharing obviously important, so as you folks budget and we move forward, we can have the best tools and information. Certainly road funding is important. In short-term rentals, where we see data centers, sand and gravel, statewide standards set up like we saw with utilities, right? Now it was through a referendum, but still a package of bills, that could possibly, set state standards on those things. And same with elections, there's been a lot of changes in elections because of the referendum, but there's also other talks and moving of dates for certain elections, and election law and so forth is, certainly a topic that's being discussed up in Lansing. And so I went pretty fast, hopefully not too fast, and folks will be able to absorb some of it, but I have some copies too for takeaways if people want to make notes or remind yourself, or I'm happy to, answer some questions, certainly.
Justin, I know with it being an election year, they're probably gonna try to get the budget done on time, so they all look like they're.
Oh, thank you, yeah, and as I should have said more of the tone, what we're having exactly. They want us to get it done by the summer and get out in campaign.
How's that gonna affect the old budget? I mean, are they gonna ramrod through these appropriations and stuff? Is there still a shortfall for road funding?
Well, in the last package there should be, but as we start getting actual revenues in from the cannabis tax and these other pools they pulled from, I believe there is going to be more reform and more dollars needed, because I think there's going to be shortfalls. So that was last year's budget, but it's going to certainly have effects. I think we start seeing the real dollars. And then we did see they missed the deadline last cycle for the summer. Now it is election year, they want to get the budget done and get out there to campaign. Constitutionally, I think it's October 1 really is the hard deadline, but even that's been blown, so I don't know which repercussion they have. But to answer your question, we do anticipate it. They're trying to, the House has been doing a pretty good job getting some of their requested things done, so that's the goal. But with a lot of politics and bipartisanship right now, I could see it stretching beyond that goal of the summer, but certainly hard and fast. And so we'll be leaning upon you and the board and so forth, support our legislative spending directive as well as some of these other big policies come down the pipeline.
Any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the likelihood of property tax relief? What is that, what is the conversation, what is it looking like?
Sure, we haven't even seen a proposal from the speaker's office who said he's gonna, introduce a plan. All we've really seen is that, hey, the 6% of the state education tax and those mills, that's all that's been released and or talked about. So they're really, your guess is almost as good as mine on that one right now, because we haven't seen anything. I wish I had some more on that one for you. Yeah.
Because I anticipate hearing that being thrown out there during campaigning.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know what exactly they could do. If they take away the 6 mills for the state, what are they gonna replace it with? How are they gonna fund their $10,000 per student?
And they're also looking at a per pupil increase and so forth,
Right.
and trying to track literacy, so yeah.
Right, so that was one thought.
Yeah.
The other thing I had a question on, and it maybe goes with data centers, but PA 233 and the big push for green energy, how is that sitting with data center push and so on? And they don't really go together. What is the current thinking there?
Yeah, so we see on both sides. We're seeing some bills that get introduced to try to almost put a statewide moratorium, for lack of a better way to explain it, and slow down the process and so forth on one side. On the other side, we see them trying to speed it up, and I think they're looking at what happened with that Public Act to put a little wind behind their sails and saying, hey, well, we can maybe do something state level down to push and make these more as a mandate. As you see some of the contractors and different folks that are supportive of it coming out, trying to, on the economic development side. So, I think they're kind of using, I don't think it'll get morphed into by any means into, the public utilities one, but I think they're using that and saying, look, we could go state down and, set some sort of standard where, like the other ones, kind of preemptive local, saying, hey, you have to, if it's, I'm totally making this up, but okay, if it's a, 80 acre parcel and it has utilities or what have you, you gotta give them some sort of certain process so that they have, basically a pathway, if you will, right? If they can check the boxes that the state deems, necessary for one of these, and these are critical infrastructure needed, I could certainly see them again using that Public Act kind of as ammo and wind in their back for it.
Are they still strongly supporting all the green energy, even though it probably cannot support all these data centers that they are hoping to bring?
Yeah, the way the utilities kind of forecast and plan and the way they look at it and the rate increase they keep getting from the commission, it's kind of business as normal. And the way they're presenting is saying, we provide power, you bring the power users, it's better for everyone, we can upgrade our infrastructure the more users we have, and we've planned effectively and we can handle it, is kind of some highlight levels what we hear from the kind of utility side on the equation.
Do you believe that that is correct?
With only 10% choice and how much infrastructure money they put, we see the investment they're making here. I think within reason the grid can certainly handle it. The forecast, we've seen this before in many industries over the years when they want big power. You look at the auto industry and other uses that have come along the way. They do their load studies, their calculations. We don't really see brownouts, typically. I'd say they don't happen, but not for demand typically, and the way they're able to shift it. So I think they're pretty good about forecasting them. So I believe, they're not gonna, I shouldn't say that, overpromise, underdeliver, but I believe they do, they've been at it a long time. I think they, within reason, are gonna be able to not bite off too much more than they can chew, I'll say. How's that?
Well, that is the hope.
Yeah. But again, we've seen with some of the other industries, so it doesn't necessarily true, it's a new and different demand, and it's evolving daily, right? They're trying to get away from the, the discharging pool and the closed loop system, and so really what do they look like or not?
Sure. Okay, those were my questions.
Thank you guys as always.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mr. MacArthur, BGYA, you are next up.
Just trying to get that housing out of my head.
Yeah, I know, we can get that out of our heads.
This is a copy of the annual report. And I do have a couple extras if anybody else would like it.
I have a couple too.
Coming before.
Yeah. Okay, with that, this is our annual report from 2025. We do this every year at our annual breakfast, which might want to put that on your calendars. It's a good breakfast and always have a good speaker and have a pretty good time doing all of it. But just to run through some of it, and obviously I'm not gonna do everything that's listed here, but the first part of it where it says student supported programs, those are typical ones that we do throughout the year for the students. You know, it goes everything from tutoring, some camps, junior Blackhawks, the mid-course, that's a boot camp. That's for somebody that had an issue. We've done some for transportation where students were in need of it. Brandon Rec is one of our big ones between the soccer and the baseball and those sort of things. Steps and Stories at the library is another huge one that we do. That's the one where Miss Fran goes out to the mobile home park and does a program there through, I think she does 3 of them, and they're 8-week sessions. And at the end of that last session in August, we purchased, for all the students that participated through the entire time, we purchased shoes for them, shoes and socks, and we take that whole group over to Myers. And if you want an exciting trip, you need to come and do that. Last year we had 34 kids that were turned loose in the shoe department. And Myers has always been really good. They assigned 2 people for us to picking up boxes and redoing everything. Down where it says, well, that was a total of 426 students that we provided some type of college scholarship for. The Soar Above It grants is something that we come up with last year, and that was originated from several different programs, but we received funds from Brandon Township on the opioid money that they received through there, and we've been piecemealing it through the last 2 or 3 years because it was a significant amount of money. But we come up with a grant program where we put it out to the community to, they could apply for a grant up to $1,000, and we had 13 applications, and we were able to fund 10 of them before we ran out of money. Several of them are special programs at the school. These are grants that a teacher requested, not the school. It's programs that the teachers requested that grant for having something very specific to either their class or which ultimately would end up with, and those funds do not pay for that entire program. The ones they choose obviously are a lot more expensive than the $1,000, but it set the groundwork to get it. Those were all that we did. We did a Cub Scout troop, and it was really kind of interesting. We haven't had anybody truly from the outside apply, and we had a Cub Scout leader who requested funds for a special program, and our requirements were to be that it had to be something with mental health or drug prevention. And the Scout troop come up with a program to do with the family and do a really good program with it. So as you can see, then we went down to where it's the ARPA grants. These are grants that we received from Oakland County. And we did programs at Harvey Swanson, 2 of them. Those were both school assemblies. Those were full school programs. And again, that ARPA helped fund parts of that Steps and Stories. Overall, with those grants, we were able to provide programs for 2,990 students, one place or the other. And the BGYA, we were supported by programs, Love and Logic, that we won't be doing any longer because our instructor gave it up and retired from it, but she provided family education for a lot of folks, and we received a lot of emails in recognition of what that did for their family to help support with that. And then we did, because we had such a nice hunk of money, and in that money we got on the opioid, there was guidelines for it to use it for mental health, drug prevention, or family education. So we had a thought that we'd do a year-long of articles in the Citizen to recognize those, and Shelby, she's on BGYA, but she was also the writer for those programs. So we had typically 2 pages once a month in the Citizen to provide some type of education on drugs, family education, someplace in there. And as usual, we generally get pretty good support from the Citizen, usually. Real quick, I'll throw it in there. We do that breakfast every year, and we get a few people that donate food and that sort of thing. But we have one donator. I do the eggs. I do all the scrambling eggs for 60-some people. I get donators. David gives us 11 eggs every year. So. I thought I wasn't going to say anything. But you can see that we do different programs. These are more thank you programs for students that have done something special at the school. Safety Patrol, the BASE program, and for the life of me, I can't, the acronym, I think it's Brandon Adult Special Education.
Skills. Skills for employment.
Yeah, for employment. Yes,
Skills
thank you.
for employment.
Yeah, you can see she's one of our board members, not as well as I am. But we presided. They do all the work for youth rec, preventing what you see on the stage, and they supported our breakfast. We had a couple of them poured coffee. They're doing all kinds of work for youth rec, which is on the 23rd. And getting a lot of incidental things all put together for us, so it saves us a lot of work. So we do something for the students. I think we took the entire group to A&W last year for a field trip. And we've done different hosting of one thing or another through the Christmas in the Village and September Fest. We do the pinwheels, if you've been into downtown, you've seen those. And we do emergency cards. We still do that. Every year we do about 5,000 cards, and they're handed out to the students twice a year. And on those cards has telephone numbers for all types of supports, suicide prevention, abuse, anything like that. There's about 8 or 10 numbers on there that we hand out every year. We know a lot of them get not where it belongs, but we've had reports from several that through the information that we get back, that the students used it and requested support. And it's inexpensive for us. It's like $85 a year to do these 5,000 cards. So it's paid off. It's what little bit is $85, and it probably saved 2 or 3 kids' life. The caseworker report, I won't dwell too long on that because I'm not the caseworker. but that's Tasha Hanson is our caseworker now, and you can see the charts of what grades, where her referrals come from. And a referral is typically either from a teacher, police department, that there's been some issue that they were unable to manage and gonna send it through the system. Most of those referrals, she can deal with right in the office. But if that doesn't work, then she has all types of prevention programs that she either sends the student and the family to, and obviously if none of that works and there's still issues, then it may go on to the court system. Fortunately, very, very seldom does it ever get to that point. She's able to deal with these problems with the children and the families, and those families are required to participate if they want to get some help for their child. So the program she does, she keeps students from being having any type of misdemeanor, anything going through the court system. She can bring that to a halt. The police officers, they turn in referrals pretty regular, and she can stop that from that student going on to court or having a misdemeanor on their file. And that's a big deal, getting that stopped. And her work it's tough work. She deals with this, and she brings them all into the office at some point, and they sit down and go over and discuss the problems that occur either within the family or at the school. So it is extremely easy. But you can see at the very bottom, you'll see the list of the types of referrals that she receives, and it's just about everything you can imagine with a student. There's quite a list of them. And, I appreciate it. Again, thank you for the sponsor fee, the $2,500. We're working hard. We're trying to apply for more grants, but we always need more money. So you might want to keep that in mind. We're always on the hunt for more money for these types of programs. Right. Thank you. If you got any questions? Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Council. Leslie. People right here, I'd like to stand up and tell us what you're doing. You can do whatever you like.
Okay, I don't know, I just thought.
Yeah, easier to see you guys.
Hi, I'm Jillian Conrad, president and founder of the Lettuce Lab.
I'm Derek Jeffries, vice president of the Lettuce Lab. We reside at 15101 Dixie Highway, the cool little brick schoolhouse, and the actual old town hall at 10579 Dixie Highway. We cultivate inclusive employment opportunities to empower individuals with diverse abilities. What we are dedicated to providing meaningful pathways for the workplace for individuals with disabilities. We are here this evening looking for a resolution for our charitable giving license and qualification. We are hosting a fundraiser a fundraiser on June 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Holly Vault. So that'll be our kickoff fundraiser. We'll be having a raffle, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So, do you have any questions on what we do or what we are doing at the Lettuce Lab?
What do you?
We grow microgreens. We'll be growing microgreens and have a art studio that will give people education and individuals with disabilities the ability to bridge that gap between the traditional workplace.
So after I actually teach, so thank you, I'm a teacher. I love all your teacherly references and help that you're doing. I teach adults with special needs in Clarkston, actually 18 to 26-year-olds. And after 26, resources fall away. There's not a whole lot out there. So we aim to bridge that gap, providing employment, employment services, hooking people up with employment opportunities, and then employing people ourselves through the Lettuce Lab. We can provide job coaching, we can provide, visuals, anything that might be needed for someone to be successful in a job setting. We can do that work, so aiming to close some of those gaps out there when services start to fall away.
So their purpose today is, as they mentioned,
Yes.
they're trying to do a fundraiser that's coming up, but they do have to apply through the state for a gaming license. So our role as the board is to simply acknowledge them as a nonprofit. So, the stipulations for this are basically the majority of their work is going to be done here within Groveland Township, which was confirmed. And then they also did have to submit some records for this, just to show that they were nonprofit. They've already filed all the paperwork they need to, for IRS and all the fun things.
Yes.
So this is really just for us to acknowledge them as a nonprofit, then they are able to take this document, submit it to the state in their application for their gaming license. And I did have our attorney already look over this, make sure everything was up to snuff, and everything has been submitted, so. Any questions on this?
What do we need to do to make a resolution?
All we did is right in here, this would be resolution 2026-014. So you can see it right here, local governing body resolution for charitable gaming license. Everything else here is just our traditional information on a resolution at a regular meeting of the Groveland Township Board, called to order by Kevin Scramlin, blah, blah, blah. The following resolution was offered, moved by, supported by, request from the Lettuce Lab of Holly, County of Oakland, asking that they be recognized as a nonprofit organization. Obviously, you don't have to write this all down. Organizing in the community for the purpose of obtaining charitable gaming license, be considered for approval. So that is basically all we need to do. And then, this documentation just gets completed by me, and then I submit that back to them.
What kinds of games do you guys have?
Well, we're just gonna have raffle baskets. That's our main thing that we're gonna do. Obviously, there's gonna be donations, please. Lots of, we're gonna pick your brain. Lots of funds, but mostly just raffle baskets. So we'll have tickets and people purchase tickets to win a basket. Yeah, that's the main part, but we had to be legal when we did that, so we're getting permission to have baskets.
I was going to say, I appreciate you're doing all the right things, right? Making sure it's done properly. No, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Then I would motion that, we approve resolution 2026-014, approving the resolution, that Lettuce Lab of Holly is recognized as a nonprofit organization operating in the community for the purpose of obtaining charitable gaming license.
I'll support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
If you develop a flyer or something for that,
Yes.
would you bring it?
They will be in next week, we will drop it off, yeah.
That would be great.
We would love for you guys to come.
Yeah.
Let's see, Township Board and Fire minutes, might as well leave the special board meeting minutes in that too. Laura on page 4. Down at the bottom, we got a scramble motion to approve 2026 tri-party spreading of gravel. You got 2 miles of road, it needs to be 3.
Okay.
On page 2, not that this really makes a huge difference, but in the first motion, it does say Scramlin motioned, and then Bill seconded it, because we do have Bill Thompson. I just want to have an S at the end of Bill's is all, just for clarity. And then also on page 5, the second to the last bullet point says Oakland County could be on the August or November ballot. A 1.5 mil increase countywide. This is Oakland County ISD the intermediate school district could be on the ballot for a 1.5 mil increase countywide. 51% of school districts countywide would have to approve it to be on the ballot. So the way it's worded is, it's missing some information. So, it's the way I explained it. Does that make more sense? Or do you want me to repeat? So it's,
So I'm changing the motion
so,
from what
no,
I.
it wasn't a motion, it's just a bullet point on page 5, the second to last bullet point. It's
Okay.
just Oakland County, but it should be Oakland County ISD, Intermediate School District. Because the county itself has a millage already, but they're looking for the intermediate school district to put another millage on either the August or the November ballot for 1.5 mills countywide. The only way that goes on there is if at least half of the school districts in Oakland County say, yes, we would like it to go to a vote. Okay?
Okay,
So, I just, that needed to be fixed is all.
We're on that page, under N. Everything that's written there is fine. I think maybe it would be good for us to add that we agreed purchases for the new fire station would be brought to board for approval. Is that fair?
That's what we agreed on.
Right. So just kind of an extension of what we have there.
That's all I have on regular board and regular fire.
That next page, Laura, under clerk, part-time firefighter, looking to put something together for an HSA. I think probably your autocorrect changed it to HAS.
Are we moving on to special board minutes at this time, or are
We'll
we gonna
do
vote?
it for you first.
Okay.
Did you have anything on first? Or I know we had one.
I did talk to Laura. This one's a fun one. I'm sorry, John, to tell you that we actually fired Kevin Mickey and Eric Franceschi instead of Ireland.
Oh, I read right over that.
no, everybody did.
That was kind of a fun one. This one probably doesn't change much, but under operations, I think you meant box alarm, in back.
Let's spell check.
Yep, I know. That is all I had for both of those.
Let's just do special order on it.
Okay, you wanna go on to special?
Might as well.
Okay.
This is because there was nothing mentioned last month, and that was a unicorn month. Now it's all coming back out.
Just keeping you on your toes, Laura.
Yeah?
Okay, on the special board minutes, on page 2, under security grant acceptance, second bullet point must be changed from January 2026 through September 2028, not 2026.
Okay.
That's all.
Do you have anything else to know on those?
This number, or page 3, Laura, probably just add that, scrimmage the motion that we approve $50,000 for repairs on the ladder truck and engine 2. At W.W. Williams, I would just put from fire budget, it's fine, I don't have the number in front of me here, but just in case we ever have to come back to that. And then my only other thing, and this is, I 100% know how this occurred because I've sat in that, but page 4, I think we didn't break for the fire board.
Okay.
Alright.
I'll make a motion motion that we approve the March 9th, 2026 Township and Fire Board minutes and the March 25th Special Township Board minutes with changes as noted.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. Janelle, you wanna tell us about the copier?
I sure do. So this, I just wanted to make sure we had, in front of us, I believe that fire is going, you're considering Toshiba as well?
Yeah, as soon as we move over, I wanna switch. Ours is open right now, so
Yeah.
I just don't wanna stick it in there and get it all.
I don't blame you. So right now, and you can kind of see at the top, you can see my scribbles. When I met with Sydney a few months ago, we've, I think for the most part, been happy with the Toshiba. Yeah,
Are you asking me or him?
you.
Oh.
He doesn't
I
have.
don't
it.
have to
Just
shoot.
you. Just you. And I don't care about Kevin. I'm just kidding.
It's fine.
I knew that anyway.
You knew we had a copy machine, right?
I just don't know what I'm trying.
No, Sydney's been wonderful to work with, and I know that, you were pretty, I think, impressed by her.
Yeah, every time I asked
the
her anything,
quote.
she
She's
got
been
right back. And
wonderful. So we do have, this is going to expire next month, which is why I wanted to make sure that it's in here. The proposal that she did give to us is actually a different copier, and it is a second slower per job. I know. So, she did that, I think, to keep us around the same amount,
Okay.
right? So a little bit slower printer, but according to the amount that we print, this was her recommendation. So you will look at the very, very last page there, we're paying about $184.54. And the new one would be total we're paying $201.11. Total will be $207.70. So, we can move forward with this, or alternately, I actually thought it might not be a bad plan to continue monthly with what we're doing right now and swap everything out at the same time, so our contracts are in parallel, because truthfully, in a few months or a few years when she comes back, it just kind of makes sense that we would consider that renewal at the same time, if you're comfortable with it.
Oh, for sure.
All right, then, I would motion that we continue with the month to month on the Toshiba until fire is ready for their new printer, and then at that time, bring the, proposal back to the board with both machines.
I will support that.
Since we gotta pay for it, you better roll call it.
Teresa Bills,
Yes.
Jim Christopher, Keith Wiederhold, Kevin Scramlin, Janelle
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
And just so you guys know, the printer is actually one of the few things I can work. Just so we're clear.
And I really do care about what he thinks.
She does not.
And I did know that he knew that we had a problem.
It
I've
is.
seen him use it.
Shred Day, which will be our community day. May
Correct.
20th.
Correct, so May 20th, if you don't have it on your calendar, put it on your calendar. 5:00 p.m., we have all sorts of different services. Last year we started this, it was a great turnout, we're hoping for just as great a turnout this year. But we do also, last year we offered shredding, that was when we had our community shredding at the same time. Shred truck comes, you bring anything that you need shredding, and he dumps it in the big old truck. So it's great for us to kind of clean up around here, get rid of any records that don't need to be retained any longer. So I would like to have Extreme Shredding return on May 20th of this year, same fee, $275. That would be my motion.
I'll support it. Lori, you want to roll call, please?
Janelle Keller,
Yes?
Teresa Bills,
Yes.
Keith Wiederhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scramlin.
Yes. All right, West Nile virus quote.
Probably could have put that in the agenda, but I didn't.
Yeah, I was thinking-
Um,
I was thinking this.
Oh, well. Should we guys talk about community?
Yeah.
So the next one here is our West Nile prevention products, and this is something most of you are familiar with. We offer the free bug spray, and that will be available on May 20th, fingers crossed, right? But this is actually through a county-sponsored grant. Thank you to Laura, because she has sat through all the lovely mosquito videos and presentations that you are required to sit through.
It's really gross.
And learn about all of the transmitted diseases from mosquitoes. Lovely. But what you have, she has pulled together in front of us here are the proposal for what we would like to purchase for the residents. As you can see, there's $2,563.02 allocated from this grant. What is proposed here is $77.58 over, so we would be responsible for an additional $77. We've done that many years in the past. I think last year was the first year that we didn't actually toss in a few extra bucks. So if you don't have any questions here, I would motion that we approve the West Nile virus control quote as submitted.
One second. I'm gonna roll call that, please.
Keith Wiederhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scramlin,
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bills.
Yes.
So when we switched Mike Donlin over to Planning Commission, then Barry Clark was our alternate for ZBA. He went on full-time, so we lost our ZBA alternate. So this person, I believe, approached me at the workshop. I don't wanna butcher their last name, but I'm probably going to. Terry Cataret?
I believe that's correct.
Is it correct? Yeah. Anyway, so they had, I talked to them on the phone and stuff, and they submitted a little bit of their resume here. I think it'd be a great fit, lifelong resident, family roots here, has a background in real estate and general contracting. So I would make a motion that we approve Terry Cataret as our ZBA alternate.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Michigan Outdoor?
So Michigan Outdoor, they have been our lawn care company for many years, and this is their updated proposal for this year for spring cleanup, fall cleanup. This also covers the cemeteries, and then, cutting of the grass and anything else that we asked them to do. Last year it was $1,815, and this year is $1,820. So I know there's been some discussion over the years of if we wanted somebody else. They've always been extremely responsive and helpful. If we have something that we need done, we do make sure to get it on their agenda right away. So if you guys are okay with them, then I'd
So
love to
this
continue.
is their, per, every time they do it, fee, not like, we're not paying them $1,820 for.
Correct, so that is broken up, it's a monthly bill that they'll send to me for both, cemetery and lawn, whatever it is that they do that month. So by the end of the summer, that's approximately what we pay.
1820.
Yeah, like I said, occasionally if we had to call them in for a different project to, hey, can you come in and trim bushes or, then that might be an additional fee if it wasn't something that was in this original plan.
Sure.
No, but what I'm asking is, like, the first line item is lawn cutting at the Township Hall, that's $85. That's every time they come and mow, it's
Correct.
$85.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So each.
So yeah, so again, it's broken down monthly, a bill for what they did that month.
So we're not gonna get a bill for this is just a sum total of, if we charge you these things,
Correct.
this is, and we did everything we were gonna do for you, this is the most it would cost in any one particular bill. But they're just gonna bill us for what they do each time.
Correct.
And these are the line items that cover, yeah, okay. So they only went up by $5 in one of their categories somewhere, but that's fine.
The only thing that may come on there, and I'm just looking at it because this would be part of their proposal, a fuel surcharge if fuel exceeds $4.50 a gallon.
Okay.
So, which,
Well, we're hoping it doesn't.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
all right, I motion that we accept the estimate for Michigan Outdoor Service and use them as our lawn care providers for 2026.
I'll support.
Roll call one.
Kevin Scrallon,
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bills,
Yes.
Keith Weiderhold.
Yes.
All right, so for the Resident Advisory and Research Committee for data centers, we have got 7 names here, I believe. Stephen Reed, Thomas Phillips, Eric Smith, Jeffrey Insko, Scott Thomas, Melissa Ford, and Carrie Smith would be our 7 that want to do it. I would make a motion that we form a committee with those 7 people. I also would put in that motion that Melissa Ford, I have talked to, would be the chairperson of that committee.
And Melissa's good with that?
She told me she was.
I'm good with that.
Just making sure.
Support that.
Prior to vote, just an FYI, I did get an additional application, just in the last like 2 days. So it was after, if we would like to add more people, if this is not sufficient, then I do have another individual.
So I think we should go with this group of 7, let them see, and get started. And if for some reason one of them needs to drop off or something, then we can maybe revisit if they feel like, they would like an additional person.
I would totally agree with that.
Yep, I am too.
I just wanted to make sure you did know I did have it.
Okay. When was was there a deadline? We had a
March.
deadline.
March 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of these people were in by the deadline?
Yes, there was one that was about 5 AM on April 1st, however, that person had been in communication with me to let me know, hey, I am submitting this. So I guess that would be something if that is an issue.
Well,
It wasn't an issue for me, and we were in constant communication, that was not a surprise.
if they stayed up all night while I'm doing it.
I think that's probably what
It was before you got to work.
it was technically before I arrived, right before I would have arrived. But yes, there was communication with that individual, so it wasn't a surprise.
Said individual might be in the room.
Said individual might be in the room. Whatever the board would like to do there, but, again, there was constant communication. I was very well aware that this person would be submitting.
And it's possible said person might have been in a different time zone at the time. One never knows.
It's possible.
It's possible.
So that is the only one, again, so the 5-hour deadline, I guess, it was 5 hours past the deadline. But with communication, this last one I just got, so
No, I'm good.
I'm okay with moving forward. I actually think 7 is a nice, good number to work with.
It's the number of completion,
Yes,
There we go.
so.
so if that's the case, we have a motion on the floor.
I did make a motion, yes, I did.
That's correct.
I'll support that.
Oh, I have Weiderhold.
Keith?
I had Weiderhold.
Sorry, Keith already did.
Keep it, so all in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? The last one is an addition. So we still owe Barry for his last draw at the fire hall, and he is down to the punch list. But we owe him 274, 5, something.
274,
Yeah.
so,
Anyway, he's wanting some money to pay some stuff, which I totally get. I don't feel as though it's correct to hold all that money for him for what he is down to. So I'm proposing that we give him $150,000. We would still retain $124,000 until his punch list is done.
Does that satisfy what he needs?
That satisfies him. So,
is there less than, is that gonna be enough to cover what's left on the punch list?
oh yeah, he's probably 20,000 or less would cover the punch list.
Okay, so he'll be motivated to get the punch list done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For $124,000.
Yeah. Okay.
But, so my motion would be that we paid Bedrock $150,000 out of the $274 that we still owe him.
Okay. I guess I can support that.
Laura, would you roll call that, please?
Oh, actually, hold on. You have, inspections are all being done, right? We were making sure that,
Wilton's on that.
okay. And all of that's gonna be finished before that final disbursement.
Correct.
And John, you're gonna be like, everything is good?
Yeah, they have to have their C of O before they get the final disbursement, so.
Okay. Alright, yeah. Then I'm good. I will support.
Call it off, so.
Okay, Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bells,
Yes.
Keith Leaderhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scranton.
Yes. All right. Holly Early Youth Assistance.
Haya has been, acknowledging April, Childhood Abuse and Neglect Month. So you know, next month, May, we usually do, I actually looked for it, I hoped that maybe I had been sent it, but it's not in there yet. We typically recognize May as Mental Health Awareness, month. And I don't have the resolution yet, but
They haven't sent us anything. yet,
they
have
haven't, no, I looked, because in years past, we've received it by now. So I don't know if that's still coming from the county, but I do think it's something that certainly we can still acknowledge and recognize. So I assume it'll be on next month's agenda, but May will start before then. They have a Goodwill fundraiser coming up and a Chamber of Commerce Expo, unfortunately I don't have the dates for that. They have 44 new referrals for February, which is just, I know, I thought that was extreme, especially after we looked at BGYA's report. That's wild. Speaking of that report, I really noticed that 9th grade and 6th grade is where a lot of those kids need extra help.
I noticed
And
that too.
yeah,
They're switching buildings.
yes, going to the middle school or
Real
high
quickly, you
school.
know, that changes every year.
Oh, it does? That
That's-
just was,
That group has been building since 6th grade. They're just moving along. They'll be gone.
okay. Fair enough. Is that one? Oh, they have a literacy program going on this summer that they are looking for volunteers for. So if you're interested in any of that, go ahead and connect with Haya. And, I think that is it. Other than that, it's a lot of business going on. I don't have anything else for them.
Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance, well, thank you, Bob MacArthur, for our annual review, overview. And,
Thank you for all your work you do on that. Not gonna let that go by. We got a lot of work out of Teresa.
true, so.
There's no argument there.
And Angela.
And
And
Angela.
Angela, yes.
So yes, what I'm working on is the youth recognition event, which is April 23rd, a week from this Thursday. We're recognizing 49 students this year. So it's at the Performing Arts Center, and all elected officials are invited. There's your invitation, and John Williams, Fire Chief, you are also invited to that event. The local elected officials and Fire Chief usually do attend, at least some of them. So if you can, that would be the evening of the 23rd. Also, I wanted to mention that the fundraiser for the Wojos gives 10% of anything that you spend is on the weekend of May 30th and 31st. They will donate 10% to BGYA as long as you tell them that you are shopping and you would like your credit to go to BGYA. And if you are familiar with Detective Pence and his sidekick Woody, he is the liaison officer for Brandon Schools. He's going to be replaced with a different liaison officer next fall, this coming up fall. So Woody goes with Detective Pence, so Woody will be gone. No more Woody at the high school, even though everybody just adores Woody. And they put up with Detective Pence, but you know, anyway, he's going to be reassigned. Evidently, it's best practice to rotate after a certain number of years. So, other than that, check their website and Facebook page. Okay.
Keith, Planning Commission?
We had a lot of discussion on the community engagement for the master plan. There were some recommendations that came out that the commission wanted to explore some further research. And talked, subsequently, we talked about that with Kevin and Jeff, and came up with some alternate, plans about how to put those questions together and move forward with the master plan. So, I think I haven't heard back from Jeff prior to today about the status of that. See where he's at, but we are meeting next week and we'll talk more about it.
Actually, the meeting is not next week, it's the
Oh,
following.
sorry, you're
next. MTA conference is next week, so if anybody planned on going to planning commission next week, it's actually the 27th, not the 20th. Thank you. ZBA, Ms. Keller, did you want to tell me? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So Jim is usually the one who would give us a report, obviously he's not here today. There was an application for the ZBA last month, that was denied. It was actually for 3 variances. It was for a residential, it was having a dumpster on a residential property. There are some intricacies to that particular property, they're a little bit unique. All 3 variances were denied at that meeting. We actually just today were served, our attorney, the appeal process is basically if you go to the ZBA and you are denied for your variance, an appeal can be made and that goes through the circuit court. That is where we are at right now, so they are appealing. So that will come back. I actually just filed a claim with our insurance today to see if they will handle the defense for that. I have not heard back yet. I'm sure I will in the next few days, hopefully. But that is where we are at, so I'll keep you updated as that, goes on. But essentially it could end up back here at a ZBA meeting for further discussion. We'll see what happens. That's the ZBA.
That's the ZBA. All right, thank you. Supervisor report, so, I did file for the scrap tire grant again this year with Brandon Township. Me and Supervisor Rumble went together and filled that out, so I'm hoping sometime here in the next couple of weeks we will hear on that. BGAY breakfast, me and Chief Williams attended that. It was a nice time. The eggs were a little short, David. Otherwise, it was good. I would like to thank the board. Me and Keith went to MTA Legislative Day. I appreciate you guys sending us that day. The big topics there, Justin hit on some of them, was property tax reform, obviously zoning and data centers. Justin was very kind. I will tell everybody, it's election year, they are gonna lob stuff over the bow. All that property tax reform, do your homework, because none of them have a plan how to make it whole. They're just gonna keep telling you they're gonna do it. So do your homework on that. Cunningham Limp, a developer, has approached us. No plan or anything yet as to what they're gonna do about the township property. They're supposed to be getting some ideas together, but they have been in, met once with me and Clerk Keller, and then they came back in with me and Mr. Bass to talk about it. So we'll see what happens there. Another company had come in on East Holly Road, talking about putting a new gravel pit in. Groveland Township, we have about, don't quote me, but it's 13 or 14 acres at the very back of the property. All the front of the property is Springfield Township. So they still have to work something out with Springfield Township. As far as our township is concerned, I told them, just so the board knows, they will meet all of our ordinances for pits, which is fine. I also told them a couple things. I want a contract, there's no landfill when it's done. I don't want a cement plant or an asphalt plant in there while they're mining gravel. And they've gotta meet everything for RC, OC, and the road. And they said they were willing to do that, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet. But like I say, they've gotta go to through Springfield to even get to us, so I don't know what'll happen there. The other thing, I have been talking with Barry Bass about putting some type of storage unit on our township property for now to generate some revenue. So I'm hoping by next month we will have some numbers that this board can discuss, but it is an idea that we're talking about. And the other thing is we are going to have a community picnic at Groveland Oaks on August 29th. I believe is gonna be the date. We're actually, Janelle and I are going to meet with them Wednesday morning, but we thought it'd be a great idea for the community. We got a great park there, be a nice time to get everybody together on Saturday afternoon. So by next month, hopefully we will have that firmed up for you. And that is it, you know?
Just real quick, when you met with Barry, what, was that just about like Tech Park, like how things work, or what was that?
I think they were, no, it was more, they were more curious what was gonna be left there
Okay,
as far as reclamation.
oh, okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know, when we met with them, it was more of, hey, we're just kind of interested in developing this
Yeah.
property. What are you,
No,
what are you
they-
hoping to have down the road?
They were trying to get some clarity to what's gonna
Gotcha.
be left when he's done,
Okay,
more or less.
I wasn't sure if they had
Yeah.
like proposed ideas or something.
No.
First of all, probably one of the most important things that I forgot to put under the hire report. Youth recognition, nominees are due May 1st. So they also do that youth recognition piece. So if anyone would like to nominate anyone over for hire. For clerk's report, first of all, I think we had we approved actually the vendor last month, but the ADA doors have been installed downstairs. Super excited about that, so all of our early voting and for precinct 1 is downstairs. So now they will have access and it will be friendly. So very excited about that. Thank you again to Laura for all your hard work on that. Filing deadline is coming up next week, so we will have, of course, that August election and November election coming up. Teresa mentioned this as a possibility, and you probably heard us reference it, but that Oakland Schools millage was submitted to the county and will be on the ballot. So I did bring it in case anyone wants to see what it's going to say. But that will be on your ballot. The library did contact me and they are interested in doing a town hall. So if you've been paying attention, Holly Library would like to become a district library, or at least they're kind of entertaining that. So they talked about wanting to do a town hall here. I do not think, you haven't seen her come in, have you, in the last week or so?
No,
Have you,
she's-
I
Teresa?
think the form's still sitting on the
Yeah.
entrance counter.
I
Okay.
spoke with her last week.
With Tina?
Yeah, about the community event, because she's still coming too, but she knows she needs to get here for
Oh,
the.
okay, so she hasn't, okay. So I don't have a date for you, sounds like that's still probably a thing. I know that they were hoping to do it on a Saturday. So that's all I can give you, but they do wanna do a town hall here in Groveland. Our auditors are gonna be coming out, one of them will probably be working with me the last week of April. And then this is just for your information, though I do think we have to probably update some paperwork with them. May 25th, they'll be working on it remotely, so probably for you, good to know in case they need anything. May 25th week, that week. And June 1st, they will be here, the week of June 1st.
Here, June 1st.
Yes. May 20th, we've already said a million times, but come out, put that on your calendar, 5 o'clock. We had it about for 2 hours, 5 to 7 last year. It was great. Again, we'll have the shred day. There are some flyers. It was published in the Holly Post, is that the newspaper? You should have received that in your newsletter for your taxes. So please come out. It's a great event. We'll have some vendors here. We have some food trucks coming, some snacks. We have a few things for the kids, and then all of the resources that we would have available we'll have at that time. And then finally, I don't know if the representative will be here on the 20th, but we did schedule, if you've been paying attention, we have a grant that we received with the DIA, Detroit Institute of Arts. So you will see those images out throughout the community this summer. But we wanted to kind of take advantage, all of us pay for them. So they are going to come out here, provide transportation for us on June 16th. They will be picking up here at 11 o'clock. This is open for anyone who would like to come. So they're gonna drive out, pick us up at 11. They're gonna drive us to the DIA. We'll get there around 12 o'clock, be there till 3 o'clock, and we will return here around 4. So they have busing that they are bringing out to pick us up. And Oakland County residents, you're paying for this. So we thought we would just try it and see if we could get a bunch of people together. Laura is handling the RSVP list. We do wanna have an idea of how many people, so we know how many buses that we need. I know a number of us from the office are excited. We're gonna go that day. So keep that in mind if you are interested. And that is all I have.
Thank you.
Bring more than one bus. if we fill up more than one bus?
So minimum is 25, and I think the busing is up to 50, so I mean, I guess if we had over 50, which would be wild, but, then I guess they'd need another bus.
Did we say sign up first?
Yes, yeah, we're trying to just kind of keep track of who's interested, and we will have a sign up on the 20th. I'm hoping they're supposed to bring out some resources for us too, but if you are interested, contact this gal right here, Laura, she will put you on the list.
Okay. So the unpaid parcels, AKA the delinquent roll, was sent down to Oakland County. It is loaded, so anybody who's interested in paying any unpaid parcels for 2025 tax year has to go directly now through Oakland County Treasurer. Right now, I am working on final settlement. I don't anticipate there being any problems with that. The cybersecurity grant was submitted on April the 8th, and they said that if there's anything that has changed from the original, they will simply let us sign some paper that says the scope of work has changed, and they will accept it. So that has been submitted. Mostly the focus is on using it for either the regular maintenance, not regular maintenance, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word, monitoring service that the IT service provides, and also it's going to be focused on the new station when it opens, getting that all assessed for any cybersecurity risks. Last week, Stacy and I completed the submissions for the DNR grant for, I think that was $4,950. And also the power plan grant, I believe is done. It will be by tomorrow, and that was for just about $2,200. All that is fire station money. And then, since we now have a resident action committee, I was contacted by a student at Oakland University who is requesting that, since Groveland Township has a moratorium and we have been having some thoughts on data centers, they are doing a data center town hall at Oakland University. They're very concerned that Oakland University wants to build a data center right next to a dorm, a nature preserve, and a Native American heritage site. And anyway, they have requested that me or others from the board might attend this town hall Thursday, April 16th at 5:30 on their campus. So I was hoping that maybe somebody from the new resident action committee may be interested in attending with me. We could ride down together. So if so, like, please let me know, okay? And I can get a copy of this email to you so you can see what it's all about. And I'm happy to talk about that either tonight if you're still here, or tomorrow, anytime, okay? Or, you know, whatever. Okay, so I think that is it for me.
That's it? I'll open public comment. If we have any public comment.
Great meeting.
I actually have something for Justin. Can I say?
Stand up.
I'm Melissa Ford. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you everybody for trusting me to chair that resident action committee. I think it'll be great. It's really going to be made up of all of us who have already been involved and engaged. So I'll just be like facilitator, but I'm happy to go on Thursday.
Perfect.
So, but Justin, I've got a question for you. And, is there any discussion with the legislators with regard to the zoning preemption bills? Instead focusing on incentives for like renovation, rejuvenation, things to help us maybe take existing infrastructure, existing homes that are available, but people just cannot afford to fix them up. And I think that goes like for new homeowners, for existing homeowners. You know, why are we not just like incentivizing people to build in urban areas where there's already infrastructure? We're not doing any kind of continued sprawl out into places like here. Like, is that being discussed, or are they just, no, we wanna build like high density, low cost housing on farmland?
Yeah, sure.
What's your
Through the
thoughts?
chair. Yeah, so there's been discussion, but there's no active bills being shopped in that way. Kind of looking at the carrot or the stick and what side of the equation you go on to try to entice the developers or homeowners to try to do it. There hasn't been any bills to what you're talking about there, but there has been discussions. And they're looking at alternatives and kind of looking at the other side of the equation. So, okay, like you said, different tools and tactics for existing product or other incentives versus doing it by way of zoning. And so back to Teresa's point earlier too, we saw kind of utilities, they tried doing it locally, oh, we can't do it, so they went for a state down approach, trying to trump locally.
Right.
Kind of getting that flavor here,
Sure.
but it's not a foregone conclusion those bills are gonna pass in their current form or any, and so I think hopefully we'll have some more discussion, but to answer your question directly, there's not any bills right now that would kind of be an alternative to those incentives, but good talk about it.
Thank you. Do you feel that our voice could be heard? Because there's gonna be elections coming up. And I think that a lot of times, these kind of incentives aren't focused on because political people wanna be elected, they wanna show quick wins, right? They wanna say, oh, look what I did in this 12-month period, 24-month period. Obviously, renovating existing infrastructure takes a long time, so it doesn't always help them get reelected in the short term. But is there something you can suggest with regard to the community? What can we do?
Yeah, certainly, and they listen to their constituents, they do, you know, so
Okay.
reach out to your representative, your senator,
Right.
as well as the committee members where these bills are in front of the important ones. Your voice really does matter, picking up the phone, email, you know, getting on social media, you know, the more you bombard them, the supervisor and others and the associations have done a great job, but the more and more they get pounded, and the all other ideas they hear, they use more support, so if they have ideas, they may turn to bills, they may call upon you, so it's really that, you know, community engagement, it really does work the grassroots style, making phone calls, email, social media to them.
Okay,
Tag along with Kevin, Andrew, the team, and myself up to Lansing.
all right, makes a difference.
Go to
All right.
Lansing with me next time.
There you go.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Appreciate it.
Is there anybody else?
I just want to say thank you as well, for the opportunity to, serve the community even greater than what we've been doing. I'm excited as seasons change in our lives, and the season is currently changing in mine, to be able to go from last fall ready to leave Michigan to working with this board. And that's no short statement. Having February 4th over or around 100 residents or so, I think you all counted, PC board reported on, the community cares. And there's a number of community members who were disappointed they couldn't make it on the 4th, and only because the snow pushed it out, right, or it would have been the first date. So there's a lot of people who care, a lot of people who are connected, and I do see this board working for the community, each and every one of you. And I just wanted to publicly say that. A lot of what we have, including this new housing portion, that's why I was in Lansing. And I was going, I did not make this t-shirt at my new one, it was given to me, I just want to let you all know that. Because I've met some new people. And they said, well, you take this, and is there anybody else who wants one? So, it isn't about AI. We all know what's coming. I mean, we just still have to address it, you guys. I mean, I'm very cautious on the information that I give out because I don't ever want to have an untruth put there that we then have to rescind to the community. In the regards of Vesper, I appreciate your forthcoming, they still lease that property. We don't know. The moratorium's not just Groveland Township, the moratorium is statewide. It's a Band-Aid. We're just Band-Aiding it for now. And it's not to be angry, it's to be truthful. I feel like that Band-Aid was put on though because some people maybe began to say, wait a minute, maybe we do need to put some brakes on and look at this wisely. I do believe that you guys are one of the ones that are being well looked at in hopefully positive ways as a board. That being said, I look forward to whatever the board might throw at us. A lot of my time that's been spent the last couple of years doing some stuff can now shift, and I do look forward to that. Appreciate your leadership on that PC committee. I appreciate you reporting the way that you do and bringing some of that to light to this board so communication goes between boards. I'd like to see that improve to even greater than what it already has since last fall. That's my public comment.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we will close public comment then. Thank you.
Motion, then we adjourn and move it to the fire board. After 2 minutes, number break.
All right, thank you for hearing me tonight. Let's start with apparatus and equipment. Engine 2 and ladder 1 are still at W.W. Williams for repairs. Justin's pressuring them to get it back, so hopefully something soon on that. The other ones are just the standard maintenance on the trucks. We are expecting the skid unit for the mule that we ordered under the DNR grant it's being shipped on the 24th, so hopefully by the end of the month that'll be in service. Alpha 1 scheduled for front brake replacement on Wednesday. All the dash cameras, other than the 2 trucks that are out for service, have been installed. Station 1, is it, any of you seeing the sign on the front of the building blew off? We did get a crack in it, so we scavenged all the pieces up, and we have those trying to get it fixed, because I want to put it up in the peak inside the bays at the new station for kind of an antique nightlight thing. Station 2, they started putting the entry doors in today. Still waiting for a decent day where I'm not crawling around in the mud to fix the septic. And then we had a casement window blowout during the windstorm. We're looking for a new pane for that one. Personnel, the pay rates have been increased for the year. Jordan Accord and Brendan Hanovan have resigned. Jordan Accord was working at NACFA and they pay more, so he felt he could do better over there. All the new hires from last month that passed their background checks, and Dobbs is scheduling an orientation class with them. Stacy Millar has passed her state fire inspector test. What? Or yeah, the plan review, and has started fire officer 3. And those are all pretty big undertakings, so congratulations.
Good job, Stacy.
Great job, Stacy.
And then again, I have 3 I would request be hired, conditional upon background checks, references. Dobbs has done interviews with them. Well, the committee has done interviews, and they're extremely impressed with all of them. So I would like
Who's
to.
on your committee?
Dobbs and Bruder and Morose or Burdess.
Do they do that all together, or they just
Yeah,
kind of separate?
all together.
Did you hear that little higher with a H?
I did. I did hear that.
Do you need a motion?
Yep, go right ahead, Keith.
Make a motion that we hire the 3 individuals that John named earlier that were recommended by his committee.
Support.
Laura, you want to call that, please?
Teresa Bills,
Yes.
Keith Wiederhold, Kevin Scramlin,
Yes.
Yes.
Janelle Keller.
Yes.
Okay.
Those would be the 3 names that are on page 2, right?
Yes. And just kind of on a side note, one of the hires from last month, he was the one who retired from NACFA that started with us. He got in an accident with Star.
Oh.
He was running a call, and they used the turnaround on 75, and they got T-bone, so he has 3 broken ribs. So
Oh, man.
he's going to be out for hopefully just a couple more weeks, and then he can start working. That's why we don't use them. We haven't used them in 15 years because
You know, use
it's
what?
bad business. The turnarounds on
Yeah.
75.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
EMS, bunch of new protocols that we have to do training on. The stroke documentation, we've gotten that completed. EMS report cards, they're attached. There's one really interesting one in there from Jones. We picked up a woman's son from Mount Holly. She was quite happy with them. And then,
Was that the JJ one?
yeah. Yep.
Oh, I guess I did read that.
I sent him a picture of it. He said it made his heart melt. So that's a big heart, big guy. I don't know if you've got a chance to read the email I sent you from the lawyer on the ambulance bill forgiveness. Right now, we do have it's kind of a side stipulation in our ordinance that we can relieve or the resident's bill or someone that claims hardship. There's not any more guidance other than that right now, and I have several that are repeat users and are asking for forgiveness from all walks of life. It's not necessarily a hardship. It's a residency question more so.
Because they live here, is that what they're asking?
Yeah, they don't want to pay because they already pay taxes. And then some of those on top of that are in the section that we cover for Nakfa Township, or Nakfa area that we cover.
That's why you were asking that,
Yeah,
not even paying our taxes.
correct. I just didn't know if you had any more guidance that you wanted to put in place for me. Pretty much, we just take an objective look at it and see if it's reasonable that we forgive their bill. I mean, if somebody's actually in need, we're never going to deny it, but we do need to be paid to be here, or we won't be, unfortunately.
I understand that.
Yeah, I understand it. John, if it's something pressing, you can bring it to the board. You don't have to take all the pressure on yourself. They can bring it to the board if they're asking for forgiveness.
So if I genuinely think they deserve it, I mean, we don't have any problem doing it, but some of them genuinely don't.
Hey, that's part of the reason.
Fall into
the board,
hardships.
That's part of the reason the board is here, is for that
Right.
instance.
Right.
You don't have to take it all upon yourself. Bring it in.
Okay. Obviously, we have issues with CMS since Axe is passing. They were out on the 8th to do a site visit, and she was quite impressed, actually. She said we were more organized than West Bloomfield was, so. I think that portion of it went well. We do still have a few things to button up on the trucks. Justin went down last week to try and straighten out the titles and registrations, and but there was a few of them that they said there is no vehicle because there's no VIN number associated with it, when we actually, those are the ones we have the titles for in hand. It's quite an odd system how they do municipal vehicles and plates. I mean, I just send in and they're $15 a plate, and they'll send me a dozen of them or 2 dozen of them, however many I want, and I just put them on the vehicle, and they're not actually registered. The plate isn't on the vehicle, so
Yeah.
there's kind of that disconnect there with what CMS wants to what we're able to provide. So working through that. Hopefully he'll be going down Wednesday, and we'll be able to finish getting that straightened out so we can get paid. Operations, everything's pretty much status quo, moving along well, no problems with anything. The company training, pretty much consistent with what we've been doing. We're really hitting it hard on the engineer training since the weather's getting nicer. The grants, they're quite extensive. Unfortunately, we did receive the notification that we were not selected for the Station 2 replacement. So it just gives us more time to put together a better package for them next year and a little more lobbying.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
we'll continue to work forward on that one. All the other ones are still in play. Hopefully FEMA opens back up and we'll be notified that we got the SAFER grant and the other ones will open up so we can finish the application process for that. The alarms, you see we did year to date this year, we're at 254, 62 for the month. We're down a little bit from last year, but again, predominantly because of the change in Mount Holly. We have only ran 32 calls to Mount Holly last year versus the 50 to 60 that we normally do. So, Mount Holly's closed. You have 32 runs. Holly Rec is closed this year for the dam replacement. So that we really
Just the
don't
beach.
have that many calls there.
Beach and the boat launch.
Yeah, just
And-
the water, just the
yeah,
water, so
they-
you can still go in there, trails and stuff.
We generally only run a dozen to 20 times in there because of the road zone mostly. But no incidents of interest. Community outreach, continued the smoke detector installations. We did 5. We put out multiple public safety announcements. We're putting together a schedule to host first aid, CPR, and fire extinguisher classes. And Heather Key has done an excellent job again on the graphics for a mental health awareness shirts, and the link to that is attached. And then just the continuing saga of Russ. And that is what I have for my condensed version.
There you go.
How'd I do?
Zach.
I tried.
You did great. Public comment?
My dad was a firefighter too. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
All right, we'll close public comment. No, I'm not doing it.
Sure do. I motion to adjourn at 8:54 p.m. It was really difficult for me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody.